Time to see what's on the radar for Colin Cieszynski, portfolio manager and chief market strategist at SIA Wealth Management. And NVIDIA is the one that's beeping for you right now. Of course, they report after the close on Wednesday. What are you liking about it?
So what I'm keeping an eye on with NVIDIA on Wednesday is they've kind of been the poster child and the lead, the headliner, the star of the global AI revolution and investment that we've seen play out over the last number of years. But as the chart here shows that since last summer, except for a brief rally at the end of October, NVIDIA's been kind of flat, and it's been kind of consolidating, and it's been leveling off, and it's been trading in essentially a 170 to 210 range. And going into the earnings report, at least this morning, it's sitting pretty much smack right in the middle of that range. So, but what we hear a lot of talk about is not just the growth of AI. What does it mean? Who are the winners and losers? And valuations. Are stocks correctly priced relative to the growth potential that's out there?
I was looking at a story earlier. This was from Big Short, Michael Burry, and he's drawing a parallel with NVIDIA and RCA in the 1920s when radio was the big thing, and everybody was focused on RCA, and it surged. And then it lost 98% of its value through the 30s was the Depression. But it's an interesting analogy to pull up something from 100 years ago. He said that could happen to NVIDIA. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, there are definitely cycles out there. Things change over time. But a lot of hopes and dreams and fears and psychology and people don't actually change that much. And the markets are a reflection of people. But what we do recognize is that as the old saying goes, history doesn't necessarily repeat, but it does rhyme. So at some point we may see some kind of a shakeout in the market, but we have different times, different stocks are expressing leadership. One of the interesting things right now is when we did our relative strength analysis on the semiconductor sector, kind of the big cap names that led this have been relatively weaker at the moment. But the reason is not that they've gone down, it's that the big cap names, the NVIDIAs, the Broadcoms, the Intels have been, even AMD have been sideways to down in recent months, and we've seen a catch up in the smaller cap names, and that's something that does evolve over time in a market. Now, what intrigues me this morning is then you have AMD, which has actually been one of the most depressed stocks on an absolute and relative basis in the sector, is actually up this morning after they got that big contract with Meta. So we can see it doesn't take much to move these stocks in either direction. So when it comes to NVIDIA, it's going to be, is the growth story continuing? What is not just the results, but of course, as we know, guidance is even more important. Any general commentary from management is generally tend to be parsed pretty actively by traders as well. And then what does that mean for valuations? And that's the biggie is these things have done so well, even when they're growing, are they overvalued or undervalued relative to their ongoing growth potential? So NVIDIA tends to be one of those moments where earnings, where things kind of crystallize, especially because they kind of report at a separate time from everybody else. So there's quite a bit of focus on that we could see over the next couple of days.
And what kind of a role do precious metals, rare earths, what do they play in all this?
Well, the AI boom has driven demand for a lot of resources, whether it's electric power, whether it's chips and semiconductors, and all of these things. Underlying all of this demand is they all use resources. You need to mine and extract different kinds of metals, whether it's copper or precious metals or rare earths, and a lot of commodities. And this boom is fueling demand for resources, and we're seeing that play out in the resource market. We look here at the table. We've got copper up 2.2% today. Silver's up almost 2% today. There's a lot of this what appears to be an emerging commodity cycle is being driven by, as I said, by global demand, and a lot of that's coming from the AI boom.